I'm Julia, and my husband Gabriel is a light novel writer and freelancer who juggles multiple writing projects. I assist him as his secretary. On a typical day in his home office, I was deep into work alongside Gabriel as the clock struck 3 p.m. I yearned for a brief break. Yet our tranquility was shattered by the abrupt thud of the front door swinging open. Gabriel and I exchanged worried glances, bracing ourselves for what was to come. Party time. The living room door swung open with a bang, courtesy of Gabriel's older sister, Grace. Despite supposedly residing at her parents' house, she made a daily appearance at 3 p.m., indulging in tea and devouring all the snacks we had received as gifts before heading home once more. I found myself engrossed in work. "Can't you see we're busy? Can't this wait?" I pleaded. "Don't be such a killjoy. I just want my tea," Grace retorted, unfazed by our irritation. "Who do you think you're talking to?" Grace flung herself onto the couch, crossing her legs with an air of entitlement. True to form, she raided our snack stash, filling the room with the loud crunching of her indulgence. "Listen, it's beyond belief, Grace," I vented, frustration bubbling. "She's so presumptuous and arrogant, acting like the world revolves around her. She claims to be a live streamer, but who knows how much she earns or anything about her work-from-home setup. And then she has the nerve to demand tea from me, her sister-in-law, as if I'm her servant." As a result, Grace had received a scolding from my in-laws, though it was merely a temporary halt to her behavior. This demeanor had persisted since I first began dating Gabriel in high school, so it didn't faze me much. "Handle it yourself," I retorted. "Don't you dare sass me," Grace shot back, her words punctuated by the scattering of snacks from her mouth to the floor. "You dare talk back to me? You're the newcomer here. You should know your place. As the eldest daughter, I demand respect. If you can't handle it, then maybe you should consider a divorce." I was seething with anger at Grace's remark, but it was Gabriel who displayed frustration first. "That's it. You're being unbearable. Leave." "What? Hold on. Gabriel rose from his seat, seized Grace's arm, and escorted her out, her protests echoing through the room. "And if you ever use the spare key we misplaced, or is it stolen, to get in here again, I won't be so forgiving. I'll be informing Mom and Dad about this." "Enough, Grace. Enough fuss," Gabriel commanded firmly. He reached the front door where Grace continued her complaints and secured the chain lock, ensuring she couldn't barge in again. With deliberate clarity, he made sure Grace heard the lock clicking into place. Then Gabriel swiftly dialed the number on his phone. "Dad, Grace is here again. Just a moment." Gabriel paused to address his father. The persistent knocking on the door echoed throughout the room. But eventually it ceased. It seemed Grace had finally relented and departed. Gabriel and I breathed a collective sigh of relief. "I'm sorry for the trouble." Gabriel's presence seemed to prompt an apology from me. "No need to apologize. Grace has been treating Gabriel like a servant since she was little." Gabriel, being gentle and quiet, never pushed back. "But ever since we got together and married, he's been learning to stand up for himself," I explained. "However, it's been almost 2 years since we married, and her constant visits need addressing. She even showed up uninvited while we had guests recently. Lately, our editor has been dropping by, typically between 3 o'clock and 4 p.m. Grace once even tried to flirt with the editor, asking, "I'm his sister. What are your hobbies?" It was so embarrassing that we had to arrange for the editor to visit in the mornings instead. Gabriel prefers to focus on work in the mornings, you see. "I heard from your mother-in-law that Grace feels uncomfortable at home. Maybe she's like a hermit there, and her frustration might be directed at us due to her parents' nagging. I'm sorry. I should be better at keeping her at a distance," Gabriel said, sounding defeated. "Don't stress about it," I reassured my partner. "By the way, don't forget we're heading to your parents' place to discuss restaurant options for their 60th birthday celebration. We could bring up Grace's situation then," I suggested. "Great idea. It's high time we addressed it. I spoke to Dad earlier and he wasn't aware Grace had taken the spare key. But they do change their hiding spot regularly, don't they?" my partner responded. "Yeah, Dad recently stashed it in his wallet, which caused a bit of a hiccup," I confirmed. "What's the matter?" I inquired. "It appears that some money went missing along with the key," my partner responded solemnly. "What?" "But she's denying it, so tensions are running high back at home." I expressed concern. I was hesitant to broach the topic given the circumstances. but I truly appreciated my in-laws, who had been kind to me since high school. Determined to properly celebrate their 60th birthdays, I affirmed, "I want your parents to have a wonderful time. We'll address the issue when the moment is appropriate." "I agree. Oh, speaking of which, what type of restaurant did you have in mind?" "I compiled a list of options. Want to review them?" my partner suggested. "Sure, let's take a look," I replied. I presented Gabriel with the details of the restaurants I had researched and narrowed down. Seeing how diligently Gabriel worked, I wanted to offer my support in this regard for the celebration. I intended to let my in-laws choose from the shortlisted options. A week later, we buzzed the intercom at my in-laws' house, but there was no response. "Strange, they should be home," I remarked. "Their cars aren't here. Maybe they're out," Gabriel suggested. "Probably shopping, getting things ready for our visit," I added optimistically. "Well, let's just go in and wait," Gabriel decided. Using the spare key, Gabriel unlocked the front door. As we stepped inside, hurried footsteps sounded from the second floor, descending with a noisy clatter. It was Grace. "Couldn't you have answered the intercom if you knew we were coming?" I scolded. "I'm busy," Grace snapped back. "Hello, sister-in-law." Grace greeted me curtly as usual, but her hurried descent hinted at another reason for her sudden appearance. "Did you two prepare for Mom and Dad's 60th birthday celebration?" Grace inquired. "Yes, we did. Why do you ask?" I responded. "Where is it? Show me," Grace demanded. "Ha, but you said you weren't coming, sis," I reminded her. "I changed my mind. Just show it to me," Grace insisted. "Here it is," Gabriel replied, revealing the setup. Originally, Grace had planned to skip the celebration altogether. "Do we need to celebrate that?" she had remarked. But the true reason behind her reluctance was something unexpected from a daughter. Yet, for some unknown reason, she decided to join. "Oh, look at the esteemed writer, huh? You must be swimming in success. This fancy restaurant you've chosen, quite the high roller move," Grace remarked, eyeing the information she snatched from Gabriel with a snide chuckle. "Why do you have to say things that irritate me?" Gabriel snapped back. "Why not? You must be raking it in, right? Though I'm making multiples of that, just so you know," she continued, her words always aimed at belittling Gabriel. If she truly earned multiples of his income, she'd easily clear 6 figures annually. However, there's no evidence to support this claim. Also, it was Julia who selected the restaurant. "Okay, can you please stop being so rude?" Grace's intense stare made me uneasy. I instinctively retreated, asking, "What's on your mind?" But Grace proceeded to utter something utterly outrageous. "Ah, there it is, Gabriel. You're finally witnessing this woman's true nature, aren't you?" "What? Oh, never mind. I'm excited for the celebration. Catch you later." Gabriel brushed off the comment. Grace then forcefully ushered both of us out the door. Strangely, she held on to the document, continuing her disruptive behavior yet again. "Well, no big deal. We can print out the restaurant details whenever we need to, and then we can show my in-laws the photos to confirm," I reassured Gabriel. As it happened, our in-laws had completely forgotten about our visit that day and had gone to a Sunday farmers market instead. They apologized to us later for the mix-up. With the venue finalized and the reservation complete, we eagerly awaited the day of the 60th birthday celebration. As we arrived on site, Grace and our parents were already there. Despite our earlier awkward exchange with Grace, we tried to push it aside. However, her smug smile directed at me sparked a sense of unease. Nevertheless, we proceeded into the restaurant. We were led to a private room, exquisitely designed in traditional Japanese style, surpassing the beauty depicted in online photos. Just as my in-laws began to admire the room with smiles on their faces, Grace interjected from behind us, her grin mischievous. "Don't let yourselves be deceived, Mom and Dad," she remarked suddenly. Suddenly, Grace pointed a finger at me and shouted, "You're after our family's wealth, aren't you?" Her accusations startled not only me, but also Gabriel, my father-in-law, and my mother-in-law, leaving us all in blank surprise. "Wealth? What?" I stammered, utterly confused by the sudden accusation. "What nonsense! We're just an ordinary middle-class family," Gabriel angrily interjected. But Grace's theatrics were far from over. "As the eldest daughter, I'm set to inherit this house. You're planning to target my parents too, aren't you? I won't be fooled." Grace continued her tirade. "I don't understand what you're talking about. Why would you think I'd do such a thing? I attempted to reason, but Grace seemed unwilling to engage in dialogue. I've seen right through you from the start. You're a dangerous woman getting close to Gabriel, and now this, Grace accused. That's absurd. Gabriel and I have been together since high school. If wealth was my goal, I would have chosen differently. I defended, incredulous. Grace merely snickered at Gabriel's disbelief and continued her tirade. A woman not after money would have picked a more modest restaurant. But look at this lineup. All expensive places, she boasted. Grace threw some documents she had taken from Gabriel a few days ago into our hands. What's the point? I asked. Don't you see? This woman believes she can manipulate your wealth however she pleases. Simple-minded men. Grace jeered, bursting into laughter, oblivious to our growing realization of the situation's hopelessness. I won't hand over the family's wealth, Gabriel. Do you see it now? This woman's true colors, Grace declared, urging Gabriel to understand. Having her as a family is a nuisance. You two should divorce, Gabriel. This is an order from your elder sister. For the peace and security of our home, you need to divorce her and leave. Stay away from my parents, Grace yelled, advancing towards me aggressively. That's when Gabriel intervened, stepping between Grace and me. What on earth are you saying? Apologize to Julia right now. Wait a moment, Dad. Gabriel interjected. What's this about money? Absurd. Julia has been helping us organize our 60th birthday celebration, and you should be doing the same. Instead, you're creating unnecessary drama. Gabriel's father interjected. No, Dad. Take a look at this. Grace insisted, flustered as she hurriedly handed the documents to her father. My father-in-law perused the documents. If you look closely, you'll understand. She's chosen outrageously expensive venues. She's draining the wealth of a middle-class family like ours. And all the expenses are falling on you and Mom, right? Am I mistaken? He concluded with a heavy sigh. Gabriel and I, along with my mother-in-law, were left speechless. Oh, Gabriel's confusion was evident. She's claiming we're footing the bill for the 60th birthday celebration, I clarified. Huh? Grace's eyes widened in surprise. Well, it would be rather odd for the honored to foot the bill, she reasoned. Wait a moment, so you're insinuating Julia is still spending Gabriel's money recklessly? See, I knew it all along, Grace accused. What nonsense is this? Julia works alongside me and you know my salary supports us both. There's no reason for concern, Gabriel countered. But, Grace faltered. And? What's your take on this, Mom? Grace turned to her mother, hoping for support. My mother-in-law stood there silently, her head bowed. Exactly, Mom. You understand, right? Grace appealed. Listen, each of these venues holds cherished memories for your father and me, my mother-in-law explained. Grace was stunned. Julia specifically consulted us about it. She wanted to incorporate our memories into the celebration and choose a menu based on them, my mother-in-law continued. No way. Your disrespectful accusations are truly shameful. My mother-in-law's voice quivered with emotion. Grace was finally realizing her misconceptions, but it was too late to amend her errors, a realization that would soon become painfully clear. You've caused enough trouble. You're not welcome here anymore. Go home, Gabriel's father declared. But Dad, why are you being so harsh? I'm your daughter. You can't just throw me out, Grace protested. But you were planning on not attending in the first place, weren't you? Don't worry about the cancellation fee, I'll cover it. Gabriel's father replied firmly. Wait, hold on. It seems we failed to raise you properly. We've indulged you as our daughter, but now we've reached our limit. Leaving is for the best. Don't make decisions without consulting us. Gabriel's mother added, turning to Grace. I agree. What do you, Gabriel and Julia, think? My mother-in-law's smile was unsettling as she spoke cheerfully. Grace looked at us with teary eyes as if pleading for help. But I remembered my sister's advice not to intervene in family matters. No, that was about my parents, I interjected. Ah, I see. Then I'll keep my distance. Please leave, my mother-in-law concluded, her tone final. Sister-in-law. Grace reached out for me, but my father-in-law swiftly intervened, positioning himself between Grace and me. Go home, he commanded, his voice low and stern. Grace glanced at my father-in-law's determined expression, recoiled, and promptly exited the restaurant. Afterward, we celebrated my in-laws' 60th birthdays and savored our meal. Upon returning home, it was apparent that Grace had been sulking. However, my father-in-law reiterated that she should leave. Grace burst into tears and caused a scene, prompting us to contemplate sending her to a rehabilitation facility. "I'm not sick," she spat out before disappearing. Rumors circulated that she found a job at a dormitory, but she struggled to maintain it, frequently changing jobs and addresses. Meanwhile, we remained dedicated to our daily grind. Our bond with my in-laws remained strong, and we cherished our time together. While we couldn't help but worry about our sister-in-law's well-being, we had no desire to endure her selfish behavior again. My priority remained supporting my husband so he could devote more energy to his work. Let's conclude the story shortly. Life went on, a bittersweet symphony of joy and worry. Gabriel's writing career flourished, his talent nurtured by the peace I fiercely guarded in our home. My in-laws, a source of warmth and wisdom, became my second family. We celebrated birthdays and holidays, sharing meals filled with laughter and reminiscing about their 60th, a triumph over Grace's chaos. Yet Grace remained a shadow, a fleeting whisper of what if. News of her whereabouts arrived in fractured pieces, a lost job here, a new city there. Each time, a pang of sympathy resonated, quickly overtaken by the firm resolve to protect the life we'd built. We had learned that sometimes, the kindest act is to let go, to allow others to face the consequences of their actions, and hopefully find their path. Our story wasn't a fairy tale, but a testament to the enduring power of love, hard work, and the quiet satisfaction of a life well lived, free from the shackles of another's dysfunction. We found happiness, not in a perfect world, but in the imperfect reality we carefully curated brick by brick with patience and unwavering love. After experiencing the full journey of our story, we'd love to hear your thoughts. How did the story resonate with you? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay blessed. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next story.